Hi, welcome back. In this session, we'll try to discuss about the SYN scan. So, the SYN scan is the means TCP SYN scan, also known as a TCP stealthy scan. So, the SYN scan is the default and most popular scan option for good reasons. So it can be performed quickly, scanning thousands of ports per second on a fast network not hampered by intrusive firewalls. SYN scan is relatively unobtrusive and stealthy since it never completes TCP connections. It also works against any complaint TCP stack rather than depending on the idiosyncrasies of specific platforms as Nmaps of Fin, Null, and Christmas or Mimon and Idle scans do. So it also allows clear, reliable differentiation between open, closed, and filtered states. So let us see this one by one. While ScienceScan is pretty easy to use without any low level TCP knowledge or understanding the technique helps when interpreting unusual results. So let us take an example for your science scan for us at the packet level. So first the behavior against the open port, suppose 22, that we'll try to see here. So in this example, you can say that Nmap starts by sending a TCP packets, TCP packet with the sign flag set to the port number 22. So this is the first step in the TCP three-way handshake that any legitimate connection attempt takes. Since the target port is 22 and it is open, then on the target side, or here target assume that scan me, suppose, so that takes the second step by sending a response with the sign and act flags back. So, in a normal connection, the pen testers would complete the three-way handshake by sending an ACK packet, that is acknowledgement the sign ACK. So Nmap does not need to do this since the sign ACK response already told it that the port is open. If Nmap completed the connection, it would then have to worry about closing it. So this usually involves another handshake. So using a fin packets rather than sign. So an ACK is a bad idea. So yet something still has to be done. So if sign ACK is ignored completely by pen tester, so the pen tester will assume it was dropped and keep the target system, if pen testers ignores this scan and act, then your target machine in this example will assume it was dropped and keep resending the same packet. So the proper response, since we don't want to make a full connection, it is a RST packet as shown in this diagram. So this tells the target to forget about the attempted connection or just reset the connection. So Nmap could send this RST packet easily enough, but it actually doesn't need to. So the operating system running on this pen tester also receives the sign act which it doesn't expect because nmap crafted the sign probes itself. So the operating system responds to the unexpected sign act with a RST packet. So all RST packets described in this scenario also have the ACK bit set because they are always sent in response to a received packet. So that bit is not shown explicitly for RST packets because the three-way handshake is never completed. The signed scan is sometimes called half open scan, half open scan or half open scanning. So let us see the another scenario that the nmap determines that suppose the port number 139 that determines that this port is closed. So that means what? This is even the simpler than the open case. That the first step is always the same nmap that sends the sign probes to the target. But instead of receiving and sign act back, a RST is returned from the target. So the settle it, the port is closed. So no more communication regarding this port is necessary. And finally, uh, the pen tester, uh, in this example, it shows how it is filtered the ports. So in a pen tester initiates or the initial sign is sent first as usual. But the nmap sees there is no reply from your target side. So the response could simply be slow or from previous responses or timing, maybe or the timing defaults. The nmap knows how long to wait and eventually gives up on receiving one. So a non-responsive port is usually filtered or blocked by the firewall devices or the perhaps the host is down on this side. So in that case, your pen tester is trying to send retransmit the same sign packet. Okay, so even though but this one test is not conclusive. So perhaps the port is open, but the probes or responses were simply dropped. So networks can be flaky. So Nmap tries again by resending the sign probe. So after yet another time period, Nmap gives up and filtered makes the port filtered. So in this case, only the one retransmission was attempted required, but for understanding purpose, I'm sending this. So Nmap keeps careful packet losses statistics and will attempt more retransmission when scanning less reliable networks. So Nmap will also consider a port filtered if it receives certain internet control message protocol error messages like ICMP error messages back. Right? So we'll try to see this. While the pretty illustrations in this section is useful when you are trying to find the Nmap scanning. So let us see this on the Kali machine, how it works. We'll check it out that. Let me just share the screen of Kali machines. Okay. Okay. So here, how it is going to work. Just see that for SYN Scan, or the SYN Scan may be requested by passing the command that nmap and scan the ports using the, instead of TCP, the connect, use the S. That means SYN Scan is used. Okay, and they're trying to ignore the host discovery. Let me just, it is capital P, oh, small, minus capital P, small n. Ignore the host and try to scan a particular port number, that 22 139 88, from a source that scan me dot nmap dot org target. Okay, so this, it requires a raw packet privileges this SYN Scan, so, and is the default TCP scan when they are available. So when running nmap as a root or administrator, minus S, capital S, is usually omitted. So this default SYN Scan behavior that you can see on the screen now, it is going to scan these ports and gives the results that these ports are, the first port is open, another port is closed here. So in SYN Scan, let us examine its, uh, let me just start the Wireshark and examine how the connection is established. Let me run the scan again, uh, this port scan, and check it out what is happening. This, so we run the port scan and 56. So check here in the connection establishment, our source is my Kali Linux and destination is 45.33.32, that is scanme.nmap.org. So the first, trying to check whether this port number 22 139 and the 88, whether they are open or not, whether they are open or not. So by just sending that, this is what the request we have given, the command line. Okay. So here we can examine the, for the first request, we got a response from the target machine, that now target machine become the source and our machine become the destination for the reply from your target machine for the port number 22. So for port number 22, we have sent the signed request. In that signed request, it is for the, we got the reply here, the acknowledgement for the signed request, and your machine, target machine, is also willing to communicate. So signed request is came here. So immediately from our target, from our source port for this 38239, we are, after getting this response, your SYN Scan sending a RST packet to the destination side. That means it is not sending any acknowledgement for this scan, sign request. It is simply sending the RST. That means the connection is reset, or no need to establish a connection. So then for the, when sending a request from 38, so in this case, the half scanning is done. By half scanning, it is identifies that this port number 22 is open, so connection is not established there. Similarly, check for the next one is port number 88. So we send a request for port number 88 and we got a reply. The target got a source got a reply that the acknowledgement is given for this particular request, signed request, and sending that RST packet back to the your source. So Nmap assumes that the port is closed. The port number 88 is closed. So you can see that port number 88 is closed. And if it is filtered, means in this case, in the third case, for 139, so here we send a packet, signed request. So we haven't received any reply. So again, the second time is send the for scanning the port of 139. We haven't replied. Got any reply. So Nmap, assumes that there is a filter, so the packets are dropping, and it gives the response as the status, the request response as your filtered one, filtered responses. So, in this, for example, the Nmap reports, let me just clear this, and let us take another example here, that Nmap minus D minus packet trace for the port, suppose 22.139.113, suppose, on the scanme.nmap.org. So here you can see the Nmap reports exactly what it is doing at the packet level when you specify the packet trace option in addition to any other desired command line flags like -p or -d. So this is a great way for new buyers, buyers to understand Nmap's behavior when your the source is not around to help. So even advanced users find it handy when Nmap produces results they don't expect. So you may want to increase the debug level with the increase debug level by issuing the command line flag that is -d, or even -d5 as well. So then they scan the minimum number of ports and a host necessary for your purpose, or you could end up with literally millions of output lines. So the example, in this example, that repeats the three port SYN scan, let me just issue this. So you find here that it repeats the three port SYN scan with packet tracing that enables the output which is edited for their brevity. So the read the command line, then test yourself by just figuring out this. So you can get the millions of lines from here, and from there you can find the SYN stealthy scan took around 1.5 seconds here. So this SYN scan has long been called the stealthy scan because it is sublater than your TCP scan. So how much time it takes? By running this, you're finding this timing report that the host group is minimum 1 and maximum your 10,000 group. So by initiating the ping scan at this time to this particular destination for the given for four ports, the packet capture filtering on the particular Ethernet face is this, and the destination host which we received this response is 10.100.141. one. So here it gives a little bit information about the sent packet. The ICMP packet is sent from your host this to your target host. That is the echo request. Then the reply is given uh, for this echo request. So whatever on Wireshark we have just observed, the same thing will be explained in terms of your packet trace. So here you can find there will be one IP address that is scanning in 1.63 seconds. So the raw packets sent are 8 and received packets 3. 3 packets are received from there. So the final time for host the is given the round trip time, and your starting time is given here is 29563 to your 169143, and it gives its result also. These are open port services, and the reason is it is a sign act, time to live is 48. And for closed port, it is getting a reply packet that is a reset because it is closed port. And for filtered one, there are no responses are received by your source from the target side. So with this, this is how the SYN scan will work. Okay. So this is the difference between your TCP scan and SYN scan. So what are the key points here is here the SYN scan runs under the root privilege. If you are not an administrator, then the default, it is a default scan type in. So that means you may give the suppose if you don't give the minus s and capital S and just going for running this, it will automatically runs the same packet. Means without specifying also, it mentions the same, it gives the same result, right? So with this, I'd like to stop the session. In the next session, we'll talk about the UDP scan.